Good evening. My name is Jazmane Brown, Assistant Vice President for Enrollment Management, Director of Admissions here at Xavier University of Louisiana. I want to welcome you to Lagniappe, our admitted student program. Now, when I say Lagniappe, exactly what do I mean? Well, Lagniappe is a French term that means a little something extra, and that's what we're hoping to bring to you over the next few days. I want to say congratulations to all of you out there. Over the next few days, you'll hear from faculty, staff, and students from a variety of areas in which you'll get to learn about our Xavier community. At this time, however, I would like to really go over our enrollment next steps. Now, when I talk about enrollment next steps, regardless of where you are in the process, this certainly applies to you. Be sure that you've submitted your FAFSA in order to have your aid package in front of you. We want you to submit your $150 enrollment deposit if you haven't done so already. Next, be sure to submit your $100 housing deposit should you plan to live on campus. Upon doing those things, be sure you've also submitted your health clearance forms. Now, when I mention health clearance, I'm talking about your immunization form, as well as proof of health insurance. You can choose to waive our health insurance here at Xavier if you already have yours, or you can purchase it here at our institution. All of this information can be found at confirm.xula.edu, or you can log in to your student portal. When I refer to the student portal, this is the same place where you started your application process and you're able to track your enrollment next steps. We stand ready to assist you in this process. Now, as I said before, over the next few days, you'll hear from faculty, staff, and students about the Xavier community and how we're super unique. I strongly encourage you to tune in all of these nights so that you can really learn about what we have to offer. Be sure to check your student email so that you have the most updated links in order to access this information. But tonight, I want to welcome you because we're going to have an exciting program and you'll get a chance to hear from some of our own Xavier students. So welcome again. Congratulations on your admission to Xavier. And to those of you who've already made a deposit, welcome home. All of you, you've earned it. We want to see you here. Again, congratulations.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Bryan Cooper, and I serve as the Associate Director of Admissions here at Xavier University of Louisiana. And so on this first night of Lagniappe, this is a night in which we have some students, some of our very close students with the admissions office that are very much involved on campus, who will be speaking to you all about their Xavier experience and giving you a little bit of a taste of what it's like to be a Xavierite here on campus. And so, to kick off Lagniappe, I'd like to first have them to introduce themselves, starting on my right. And so first, Jordan, can you let us know about let us know your name, where you're from, classification, and major?
Yes. Good evening, everybody. My name is Jordan Lewis. I am a junior bio pre-med major from San Francisco, California.
Hi, my name is Shelton. I am a sophomore from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I am a sociology major.
All right. Yeah.
Hey guys, my name is Yaa'Ann. I am a sophomore mass communications major, political science minor from Houston, Texas.
Hi guys, I am Elisa Perriott. I am a junior public health major, sociology minor from New Orleans, Louisiana.
All right, gotcha. So thank you all for that. And so with this particular panel discussion, we'll be kind of like digging into your lives just a little bit, and definitely be honest with us. Let us know about your Xavier experience so that the students that are potentially going to be coming here in the fall, they can get to know what it's like, at least from this virtual experience, of what they can expect when they attend Xavier. All right, so now that we know where you all are from, what majors you all are, I want to know why you decided to major in those majors. And so the next question is actually twofold, and this will be for all of you. And so why did you choose your major? And then also, what made you choose Xavier? And instead of this side, I'll start on this side. So yeah, you can go first.
Okay, I'll start with why I chose Xavier. So originally, I really wanted to go to Hampton in Virginia, and I was getting ready to put in my deposit, and my mom was like, let's just take a trip down to New Orleans. Let's just go see. And I was like, all right, fine, whatever. And then literally within 15 minutes of being on campus, actually at Lagniappe when it was in person, I texted my mom and I was like, this is where I want to be. And she was like, what do you mean? Like, I almost just paid Hampton. Like, where are you going? I was like, no, I'm really going to Xavier. And it was just the people, the area. I don't know. Like, I can't even explain. Like, I just fell in love with the atmosphere of Xavier. Literally within 15, 20 minutes. I feel like you were probably talking. I don't know. But it was really fast. It just felt really automatic. But I chose a mass communication major because I want to do broadcast journalism. So basically, I want to be on you guys' news channel. So I feel like mass comm was definitely the best way to go about doing that.
Gotcha. All right, so Jared, what made you choose your major, and why did you choose to attend Xavier?
So I chose my major in sociology. Actually, I want to be a teacher, and I want to be an educator not just within the classroom, but also I want to help students understand more about their career and where they want to go in life. So I want to be a social worker and or a guidance counselor to help them decide where they want to go, what major they want to do, and help get people like I'm doing now to come to different colleges and stuff like that and get that experience. The reason why I chose to be a part of Xavier's family was because I see how, and historically, it was built on education, the fact that it was the first degree that it offered to African and Native Americans. And once I found that out, I couldn't not be a part of that message to the rest of my community. And that's just what I want to be like a symbol of.
Gotcha. And so, Elisa?
So I chose Xavier in my sophomore year of high school. I was sitting in my school's dance studio, just sitting around. And God said, go to Xavier's website. Wasn't thinking about going to Xavier, was thinking about different HBCUs. God said, go to Xavier's website. Listen, I came across public health. Public health is truly a new major here at Xavier, but it's something I love. I was already interning at the Institute of Women and Ethnic Studies here in the city. I love public health. I love getting people informed about what's going on in our city and things like that. So once I saw Xavier had a public health program, I was like, HBCU, something I love. My family's a legacy. Keep the name going, keep the name in the family. Reason I chose public health is because I feel like it's a major that's so broad and you can do so many things. I came in wanting to be a social worker like Jared, and through public health and sociology courses, I've learned that I want to go into program planning, and that's what I want to do. I want to be able to go in and fix the issues that we already have with current programs, collect data in the city, and see what needs to be done for our youth, and then create programs to help adjust that.
Gotcha. And so last but not least, Jordan, let us know about why you chose your major and why you chose Xavier.
So why I chose Xavier, funny enough, Xavier was not my first choice, much like Yaa'Ann. My initial first choice was actually UC Davis. My father graduated from UC Berkeley, so going to UC school was like number one on my list. But then my mom told me to go take a look at Xavier because one of my cousins had graduated from there. I was going to graduate from there. You know, like I said, I was like, oh yeah, whatever. This is my fallback option. But I promise you, as soon as I stepped on Xavier's campus, I was like, this is where I need to be. I'm used to coming from a small school, small high school, small middle school. So Xavier being a small school was really comfortable for me and was like a really good transition into like a college lifestyle. So I'm glad I chose Xavier. It's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my whole entire life. Now for my major, like I said, I'm a bio pre-med major. I have future aspirations of being an OBGYN. Initially, I came in wanting to go into pediatrics and be a pediatrician. But I know a lot of y'all have heard recently just about the high mortality rates for Black mothers in hospitals these days. And it's just a really sad thing. You know, I've always had a connection with children, but I've also always wanted to be a doctor. So I said, how can I mix that together? And we landed up being OB. So I really feel like, especially with classes that I've taken at Xavier so far, has just increased that interest in going into that field and really making a difference. Hopefully I can, open my own practice full of Black women doctors and just have that somewhere based wherever I end up living. But Yeah, that's really why I picked pre-med, and I feel like I said, Xavier has been doing all that it needs to do to get me set up to be prepared post-grad, so.
Gotcha. And so from what it sounds like, all of you seem to want to go into these fields and not only just do it for your own, let's say, selfish means, but also for others. And so all of you have pointed out helping others in some way, shape, or form. And that kind of reminds me of Xavier's mission statement, which I know we hear over and over, but helping to make this society a more just and humane one. It's really good to hear students kind of like having that within their minds already in reference to what they like to do in the future. So I would like to tell you all that are watching, first off, thank you for joining. Also, I would like to let you all know that if you have any questions for the panel while we're here this evening, you all can ask those questions in the chat. And so as we continue, the next question that I have for you all is, for the most part, about resources. And so all of you have been at Xavier for a certain period of time, and so you've hopefully used some of Xavier's resources by now. And so let's talk about that. How have you all been able to, let's say, do better here at Xavier, or to help yourself here at Xavier through the resources that Xavier offers? Go ahead, Jared.
Biggest resource that I think that I make use of is talking with my advisor. As a sociology major, general in the social and behavioral sciences department, we're really close-knit because they are literally studying how people interact with each other and how their minds work. So they know to do like checkups and stuff like that. So my advisor will email me about 3-4 times a week about different research opportunities, different internships, or if she's just viewing my classes, asking me how I am doing in these classes, and just checking up with me to see where I am along my process. And then it helps to get to know them because they can provide you with opportunities in the future. You have a connection once you graduate. You have something for you to utilize undergrad to help promote yourself into your career, because they are an example of where you would want to be in life.
Definitely. I'm happy you said that. A lot of students don't realize the folks that are there teaching you, they've kind of done what you're doing already. And so the folks that are teaching you in your coursework and in your classes, they've sat in the seats that you're sitting in. They've gotten their undergraduate degrees out the way already. So you're definitely right about that. Elisa, what about you?
So being a public health major, you're required to take biology. It's getting a bachelor's in science. And I promise you that Bio Resource Center is gonna help you so much. Like, you might feel like, oh, I don't need it. I took biology in high school. I got straight A's. I know what I'm doing. Xavier biology different. I promise you, Xavier biology is totally different. So what I recommend is that first test, that first quiz, go see your teacher. That's what I did for my first quiz. I went to see my teacher, got a 100. See your teacher, go through the subjects. If you're not understanding something right at that moment, don't wait a day, don't wait 2 days. Go to their office hours, either if they're in person or virtually, go to them, go talk to them. Make sure they see that you're trying from the beginning. When you go to the resource center, if the first tutor you get doesn't work, don't give up on the resource center, because there might be a tutor in there who meets your learning style. So keep going back, and then once you find that tutor who does meet your learning styles, make a connection with them, get their email address, get their phone numbers. The tutors in there are students. So like, it's gonna be easier to communicate with them and things like that. You can plan study habits or study hours outside of the resource center hours. Also talk to Miss Bethany, she's over the Biology Resource Center, and she can give you study tips, how to study, what to study, give you extra resources outside of what the tutors have who are students. She has extra resources. So utilize your resource centers, and that's for everything: biology, chemistry, organic, math, any coding for computer science. Make sure you're using your resource centers, because that's gonna help you and stuff, because someone in there is gonna know. Someone in there is gonna help you understand this material so you don't have to feel defeated.
Most definitely. I actually had twins that were my tutors in the math lab my freshman year. That was like 11 years ago, so don't try and figure out my age. But Jordan, what about resources for you? What have you tapped into since you've been here?
I think mine is going to be a mix of what Elisa and Jared said. Definitely my advisor. I love my advisor to death. I feel like, especially as of recently being a junior and transitioning to my last year of college very soon, getting ready for postgraduate things, my advisor has helped me beyond words. She's sent me lists and lists of summer internships, projects. She's reached out to people for me to set me up with like shadowing opportunities, things like that. And, even to the extent of her sending me her number, her personal email, like whenever you need me, I'll be there. And I really, really adore her for that because, like I said, I'm from California, coming all the way out here. I do have family in New Orleans, but I'm coming so far. And, sometimes you think, okay, I'm alone. I have nobody else. I don't have any friends here. And it's really just like Xavier's community is built to set you up the best way possible. And like Elisa said, please, please, please get in contact with your teachers. I had a biology teacher my sophomore year teaching me Bio 1240 and Professor Davenport. I don't know if you guys know who that is. And when I tell you, I asked this man one question and he answered questions that I didn't even have yet to the fullest extent. He set me up so well. Professor DiMaggio, one of my favorite organic chemistry teachers, she literally will sit down with you in her office hours and make sure that you understand everything before you leave. And if you don't, she's like, don't be afraid to ask questions. Please, please ask me. I'll do anything that I can. And I think what students need to realize is yes, these are teachers, yes, these are our professors, and this is their job, but they're people too. They understand that we're all students. We all have personal lives. It's stresses coming from home, personal, school. They understand that, sometimes we need that little extra bit of help, and they have no problem giving it to you. But you have to, show the initiative that you want that help. First day of school, email your teachers after class. Let them know your face, your name. Like Elisa said, go to office hours. Ask those questions. Do not be afraid to ask questions because that's a mistake I made my freshman year. And ever since then, I've never done it again. I ask every single question no matter what because I've always been told there's no such thing as stupid questions at all.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. And so lastly,
So being in a mass communications major, there's not as many open resources like the bio resource center because it's it's a subjective major. Liberal arts are pretty subjective, so it's not like I can go and ask for a formula to figure out how to broadcast news. That's not that's not how that works. So I would definitely say my biggest resource are my classmates because no one else really understands what you're going through except the other 10, 12 people in my class. And so they're definitely my biggest resources. As in the class of 2023, there's only 5 people who started off in our major that's still there. Of course, we had transfers and everything, and people have switched majors, but there's only 5 that have been there since the beginning. And me and those girls are so close. They know everything, help me with my projects. Maybe someone who's interested in behind the camera can help me with my in front of the camera. So really, if I can't do it, someone else can. So I definitely feel like my classmates, make friends, talk to the people in your classes, get their numbers, get their emails. Make sure that you have a relationship outside of class. They can really be your biggest help.
Gotcha. So 2 things, or rather 3 things that you all kind of highlighted at some point in time or another was to get to know your professors. So get to know your professors. Also, Jordan, you said the word advisor specifically. So for those of you who do not know, once you get to college, you do have an academic advisor who is a professor that's there to mentor you throughout your entire time at Xavier. So make sure that you get to know your advisor really well. Depending on your major, you may be required to go and see them at least once a week. I remember when I was here, that was a requirement. We kind of got a little bit of extra credit for that back in my day. But make sure that you go and see your advisor once you pull up to Xavier as well. Or actually, once you enroll at Xavier, that's a better word for it. And then lastly, get to know your friends, get to know your classmates. Those are going to be your study partners. Those are going to be the folks who will be tested with you through your coursework, and potentially those are going to be the lifelong friends that you have once you actually leave Xavier. So my next question kind of shifts a little bit away from academics and more along the lines of what it's like to be here at Xavier. So it's a comparison. First, what was Xavier like pre-COVID? Second, how is Xavier now during COVID? especially since we've been in this for about a year or so now, a little bit over a year. So tell us about what was Xavier like for you pre-COVID and then now during COVID. And I'm actually going to start with Elisa over here this time.
Okay, I've been here the longest. Me and Jordan have been here the longest. So pre-COVID, like being a legacy and stuff like that, I always visioned Xavier as the community school. Everybody's always together. Everybody's always having events, especially having a cousin who was Miss Xavier. I got to see homecoming like at a young age, so I got to see what it was all about, and it felt such like a family vibe. Then coming here my freshman year, once again still family orientated. Tours were going on, big tours, like 50 people, like schools of children coming and stuff, and having trips like big
Field
buses
trips.
coming and stuff, and seeing that and stuff. Homecoming was truly lit. Like we had in-person concerts, we were all having fun, it was good and stuff. It was those experiences, it was those experiences, you know, like going to the room in the NCF to take your bio exams, and everybody, all the jittery energy and scared and stuff, and making sure and like all of that, and then boom, COVID hits, and it's like, first week we were excited. We'll have school for 2 weeks. Boom.
Man.
I'm happy. I'm excited. I just came off a campaign and I was excited. Like I was in runoffs and things like that. I was excited. Break. Then it got boring. I got sad. I missed my Vanguard family. I was like, all right, I'm over COVID. Like, can we go back? Can we go back and stuff? Taking bio tests online was not it. Like, they were serious. Y'all are not gonna cheat. One question had 12 different questions that could be spewed out, and that was like for every question. There were so many things, like they were serious and it was stressful, having a lockdown browser, having your camera on, it was just a lot. But now being here a year later in spring, we're getting back to normal. Spring Fest is coming up this week. We're having 4 days of Spring Fest. 3 of those days are in person, 1 of those days are virtual, which is our concert and things like that. So like seeing that we're slowly getting back into the flow, I love it, because like now we're getting to do tours again. We might be limited to 20 people per tour, but at least I'm getting to see people. I'm getting to show Xavier. We might be limited to how many people can be on the yard on Friday for Live Music Friday, something that used to be every Friday, and everybody was outside and it was packed, and we had the Greek people strolling, we had alumnaes come back during Fridays and things like that. You had freshmen through all the way through the pharmacy students. We were all in the yard, free food, community. And now it's more so of a, you got your event pass, you sign up for this time and things like that. So it's more so of a getting your friends to go at that time to still have that experience, but just smaller things. But I'm really excited for Spring Fest. I'm ready for Sunday's event to be with all my friends and stuff, seeing everybody. We're like slowly getting back into the groove, but safe. Xavier's all about safety, so safety first.
Got to keep it safe. So before we move on to someone else, I wanted to ask you, you said the word lockdown browser. Could you explain to those who may not know what that is, explain lockdown browser?
Look at me and listen to me clearly. You will have to download the lockdown browser to your computer. You'll have to set it up. You will go to Brightspace, click the link for your test. It will pull you into the lockdown browser. You will have to show your face in view. Then you will have to take your ID, show your ID in view.
Your environment.
If it's not perfect, if they see something moving, it's not gonna start your test. Like you run out of time to take your test. Then every time you move, like if you're taking your test and you're moving too much, you're gonna get an X. If you get so many X's, your teacher will notice it. So like, make sure you know your material, make sure, like, if you have test anxiety, please let someone know. Like, if it's a math test, then don't worry. If it's a math epi, anything like that, don't worry, because, like, you're going to have to write down, you're going to have to use your calculator and things like that. But if you struggle with test anxiety, anything like that, let your professor know, let health services know, and things like that, so it won't affect you. But don't move on that camera. Don't. I know it sounds like anxiety, but it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine.
That is the scariest part of my entire day.
Yes, it
Taking
is.
quizzes on lockdown
Goodness.
browsers. So I'm like, if I sneeze one time, then it's like.
Man, I put my head down too, like look at the question.
Right.
The screen cuts off. I'm like, oh my god, like.
No, it's the most stressful thing ever.
So it's interesting hearing you talk about that now, hearing you all talk about it, because I remember when I was a junior and I had my first online class here at Xavier, and our tests had to be taken in lockdown browsers. I mean, if I moved my head, I could still take my test. So obviously they've updated the software a bit more.
Oh,
no,
it's
no.
definitely
Yeah.
If you're
updated.
out of the
Sensitive.
thing, like
Yeah.
if you're out of it for 1 second,
Yeah.
it'll stop the whole
You have
test.
to like
Gotcha.
show like your whole background. So like take your computer and then like do this.
The
Yeah.
area that
And
you're
see like
taking
5
it in.
to 10 feet on each side.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
And then
whole
you'll have
area.
those teachers who you have to be on lockdown with the webcam and on Zoom at
And
the
Yes.
very same
Oh,
time.
wow.
Like,
Your
okay.
phone's over
Yeah.
here, your computer's here, the test is here.
It's a
you
lot.
need a whole 6 to
Yeah.
10 feet of space for the test.
Gotcha. And so, for those of you who don't understand what we're talking about yet, a lockdown browser makes the test as genuine as possible with reference to the answers you put into the test. So, next person. Jared, tell us about your pre-COVID experience and during COVID experience.
So pre-COVID, since I'm from here, I've always liked just showing out my friends. Hey, let's go out and do this. Oh, you know, Strawberry Fest is coming up. Crawfish Festival is coming up. Fried Chicken Fest is coming up. So
Oyster Fest.
it's all there's so
Into the
many
fest.
different things to do within the city that I would just say, hey, let's go out one weekend. Let's do this, that, and the other. So I always had things to do. Was always going to events. And then on campus myself, I was just being involved in so many different clubs. The Herald, Vanguard, doing everything around campus as much as I could to be involved within the community. And then COVID happened, and like Elisa said, yay, you know, we get to go home and don't have to get up anymore. We could just log in on Zoom and do our classes. And then it's just
6 months later.
it just went downhill from there. There wasn't any kind of excitement. Our school tried with the virtual events and stuff like that, but it was a really big impact on everybody.
Yeah.
And so now getting back into this community where we are doing these random COVID tests, we are doing, some students are taking the vaccine, we have to do daily check-ins and health assessments and stuff like that, which can be a little bit of annoying, a little bit of a hassle. But
Email
it's
from Mr. Yukon every morning.
every morning.
SGA president will email you every morning.
But it's those things that we are doing that allow us to not only stay safe and continue on this path to normalcy. And I appreciate that so much from the school post-COVID, that they're maintaining the safety on campus while allowing us to try to get back into the swing of things like before, so that we can go out every weekend, so that we can have these in-person events on campus. Yes, they might only need 150 people within a certain amount of space, but at least 150 people get to experience something that Xavier has to offer.
Sure, sure. So, in line with this same topic of post-COVID or during COVID, whatever your definition might be, could you explain to us how you involved at Xavier during COVID?
You actually like
And so I know that's a bit of a
What do you
loaded
not
question
do?
for
What you
you.
do?
That is a loaded question.
So during COVID, how were you involved at Xavier?
Okay, we'll start at Vanguard. So, I am currently involved as the vice president of Vanguard. So that is this group of lovely people. We do things like this student panels. We talk to incoming students. We do tours. We do some things here on campus. Just kind of, we would have been here with you guys in person if Lagniappe was in person. But that's the kind of group. So like student ambassadors. So I'm vice president of that. I currently serve as the 2020-2021 Miss Sophomore of Xavier University of Louisiana. I am one of 6 of the competitive cheerleading captains, who are number 5 in the nation. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I am also a Victoria's Secret Pink student ambassador, so it's like a campus rep brand ambassador program, and I'm also a brand ambassador for the Healthy Relationship app Bumble. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, and I'm also part of Alpha Lambda Delta Honor Society. So pre-COVID, actually, between pre-COVID and post-COVID, nothing really has changed much. I still do everything. So, like, with the tours and everything, it was mostly, like, you know, in-person tours. doing in-person events, going out to, I remember sometimes you go to like high schools, talk to high school students, middle school students, do like little mentoring programs. But now it's mostly like online tours, maybe 1 tour a week instead of 2 or 3 tours a week. With cheer, that was completely in person. I have gotten COVID tested 19 times since we got back. We have to get COVID tested every single week, sometimes twice a week if we travel. So that's probably the biggest change with cheer. With Royal Court, we weren't able to have as many events as we would like. So homecoming was definitely modified. Sophomore week was definitely modified. Spring Fest coming up is going to be modified. What else? With Pink, with my ambassador programs, usually I'd be able to give out stuff like have events in person.
The free Starbucks is amazing.
Yes, we
I
do
love
a lot
y'all
of
for that.
online giveaways and events now. So it's really just like finding ways to keep students engaged, because a lot of my programs I'm involved in are dealing with student involvement or community involvement. So it's really just trying to find ways to keep people involved and excited about events that I participate in or I'm hosting or planning online rather than in person. But my biggest advice to anyone coming would definitely be get involved, but also make sure that you're not spread too thin, because sometimes it can get to the point where it's like you don't ever have time for yourself, and it's more of like there is no relaxation, you're just procrastinating, like there's really no downtime, it's just going from one thing to the other. So make sure that's something that you can handle, but definitely get involved in at least 1, maybe 2 things.
Gotcha.
6 might not be for everybody, but
Or 11.
yeah.
That's funny. All right, so Jordan, tell us about what you're involved in currently.
So surprisingly enough, I've actually gotten the most involved at Xavier between pre-COVID and like post-COVID right now. Starting like last spring, I had the honor of being a 2020-2021 peer dean, which is one of the best experiences I've had so far. I also serve as the community service chair for the California Club. I'm the executive assistant for XULA leads here on campus. As well as a new member of Xavier Vanguard and newly elected 2021-2022 Miss Senior.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Okay.
thank you. I think the biggest thing that kind of was hard during COVID and like pre-COVID was the whole peer dean process, I will say. We went from having training in person to everything is online, and we are up, learning dances and stuff like that, like on the camera, and not being able to really connect with my peer dean family until August. And that's another thing. Like I said, I loved my peer dean experience when I first came here as a freshman at Xavier, and it was our biggest goal to make sure that we could make this experience just as enjoyable, but also safe because of COVID. So, trying to get people involved, trying to get everybody to, come to the events that we could have in person, getting them to come to the online events. It was a little bit difficult, but I'm very proud of my peer dean family from this last year because we really put in the work to do what we had to do. Like, those late nights, early mornings, back to back, going up them stairs to move everybody in. But, I feel like we've done our best to get everybody involved. With Vanguard, for instance, doing the tours, most of the tours that I've done so far are online. And, I would love to do in-person tours as often as possible because, Yaa'Ann, Elisa, and Jared have said, being in person with the students and with you guys is, the best way to get you guys all the information that you need, because I feel like in person you can really feel the emotion that we have when talking about our school. I'm proud to talk about my school. I'm proud to be a Xavierite, and, I want y'all to also have that same feeling once you come here. With election season, now that was a lot. It's my first time really getting into SGA here on campus, so having to campaign online and, being in a runoff campaign to continue my campaign, it was a lot. Making sure that I could do virtual events that were both interactive but safe for everybody, of course, and making sure that I could get my platform out to everybody in the best way possible, because another thing is, campaign season, everybody loves campaign season. We're all in the UC, all the tables, the treats, come see your friends talk. So, not being able to do that made it harder for people to get really into it. So, all of the people who ran this semester, they really did what they had to do to get people involved. And like I said, I had to make sure that I was trying to get people involved, see, hear my platform and things of that nature. But also, I feel like the SGA Elections Board and all the members who were involved, they did a really good job, I feel like. So, like everybody has said, that in-person experience is what everybody wants. But, with the world being in this pandemic right now, Xavier is doing their best to keep everybody safe, but also give you that experience that you guys are all looking forward to. And I feel like Elisa said, as we're transitioning into more in-person things and kind of getting back to normal, I hope that this next set and group of students will get that experience and be able to, love their new home.
Definitely. So I'm happy that you talked about what it was like campaigning, because one of the students actually asked on the chat, the live chat, what it was like, or what is the process of becoming a Miss Sophomore or like a Miss Junior or something like that. So thank you for saying that. So campaigning has been virtual. What was that like? Explain virtual campaigning.
Okay, so
Twitter wars.
yes,
Okay.
Twitter wars.
Yes.
I'm going to say
That was pre-COVID too, like being a
Yes.
campaign manager
Yes.
for our current president. I've been his campaign manager or on his team since freshman year.
yes.
Twitter wars is always going to be a thing, in person, online. It just comes with the territory.
I definitely will say elections took over the majority of my month of February. I said once February 1st hits, I give my life to SGA elections. But you have to start, I'm trying to remember correctly how you start off. I mean, of course, you have to show your interest in whatever position that you want to be. You have to have your campaign manager. You have to take the Constitution test, so you have to read our lovely Constitution. And, our current SGA president, Emmanuel, he introduced the judicial branch back into the Constitution, so that was extra added information that we had to know. Take that test. Once you pass that test, that's great. So now you can get into getting your campaign together, getting your team together, your flyers, all of your speech together for the forum. So, it's it takes time. It takes planning. I was planning my campaign back in December and getting everything together so that come January, February, when it was time to execute, all I had to do was execute. Getting your team together and making sure that you have a solid team that if they would walk up to one of your campaign members outside and not around you, they could tell you everything they need to know about you as a candidate. So, yeah, with it being virtual, like they were saying, Twitter wars, making sure you have those hashtags, making sure you don't just get disqualified, making sure that you are on tip-top shape and everything like that. So it takes a lot of planning, but it is fun at the end of the day. It is fun. Like I said, I don't want to scare y'all and make it seem like, oh my God, this sounds like don't, because that was me back in December. And I had people like Emmanuel in my ear, like, don't do that. Don't let nobody put fear into your plans. If you want to do it, then do it. And I came out on top. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Also, like being a campaign manager on the campaign team, it's a lot. It is a lot, like especially in person when you have flyers at South, at pharmacy, at St. Joe's, in the dorms and stuff. I would be like a chicken with my head off, making sure all the flyers are down, because like even with campaigning online, you're still allowed to have posters here on campus. Your posters have to be down by 4 o'clock. If they're not down by 4 o'clock, you're disqualified. If all your Twitter posters are not down by 4 o'clock, you're disqualified. So like it is a lot, especially being deputy campaign manager and making sure everybody on the team is posting something, making sure there's no ops on your team, making sure everything is perfect. It is a lot, not gonna lie, it is a lot, and things like that. Emmanuel called me at 3 o'clock in the morning some days, and I love our president, I'm not gonna lie. I love Emmanuel, but like, if you're gonna be running, if you're gonna be on the campaign team and things like that, you have to realize from December into February, and then sometimes March, depending on if you go into that runoff mode, it's a lot. It's gonna take a lot out of you and things like that, but it's worth it. Like I would never regret helping Emmanuel from freshman year all the way up to junior year and seeing how much he has put so much dedication into his campaigns and seeing him elevate. Hashtag elevate, and then now seeing him apply that pressure. Like it's beautiful to see, like seeing Yaa'Ann run for like Miss Sophomore. So I was like, oh, freshman baby Yaa'Ann. Now she's like a sophomore, and seeing her run and things like that, and seeing how she has grown as a person through SGA, and can't wait to see how Jordan's gonna grow and things like that. Like personally, I'm not gonna be a part of SGA because my life is just too busy with all the organizations I'm in, but I love seeing and pushing my friends to go to that position because I know the platforms they stand for and things like that. I know the hard work, I know the long hours, I know the 2 a.m. calls, I know all of that. So like, if you're gonna do it, make sure you're not doing it because it's not a popularity competition. Like that's not what it here is at Xavier. Like it's the work you've done. It's what you've done since freshman year. It's what your values are, what you're gonna stand on. So like, if you're gonna run, make sure you're running to better Xavier, not running to run for, I'm Miss Sophomore.
For the sash.
Yeah, for the sash. Like,
For
don't,
the
like,
crown.
Don't run for the crown.
don't run, yeah, like,
for the
don't do
crown.
that, because, like, especially in virtual, your homecoming experience is not gonna be like, everybody look at me. It was a brunch. It was a few
was a
people. It was a brunch, a few people, small and
But we still had a
intimate.
great time at homecoming.
Yeah, it was fun and stuff, but I'm just saying, like, it's fun. Like, don't discredit homecoming. It was fun, but don't run for the crown. Don't run for the sash and things like that. And make sure when you are carrying that name, you're not just carrying it for your class. Wherever you go, you are Xavier
Yes.
University of Louisiana. Whatever you do, whatever your actions are, it carries. So make sure when you go out into the world, and once you post and stuff like that, if they see anything, your title can be taken away from you. So just be aware.
Representation.
Yes, it
Okay.
counts.
And also, since we're on the topic of campaigning and stuff like that, I have to give a shout out to our very own Noah.
Oh,
who's
Yes,
one of our
Mr.
Vanguard
Xavier.
members.
Yes,
So
Mr. Xavier.
Mr. Xavier for this upcoming year, he's a part of the Vanguard Association. You all will actually see him a little bit later, so I'll leave that for you all to see. But another question that I wanted to ask, well, first of all, before I ask it, we're rounding out, or we're kind of at that 20-minute mark, so we have about 20 minutes left. And so for any students that are watching this, for any students that are listening to this, if you have questions that you would like to ask our wonderful panel, make sure that you put your questions into the live chat. We are monitoring that, so that if you'd like to ask something for next year when you're, or actually for later this year, when you're about to come through to Xavier, you can ask those questions now to students who are literally here at Xavier now. And so while you all do that, I have another question, and that next question is primarily, everyone kind of has like that professor for them in college, and I have.
In what connotation?
Okay.
Yes.
Good
There's
answer.
always
Good
that.
answer.
There's always like
Yes.
that professor, like that professor.
Yes. Thank you for that clarification. So that professor that's like that helps you with everything, even if it has nothing to do with them. That professor that's like your go-to professor. And so I actually start with you. So who's your go-to professor?
Okay, so I kind of have like a go-to professor and then like a go-to like non-professor.
Okay.
So my go-to actual professor, Monica Pierre. Love that lady so much. Oh my gosh.
And also, what does she teach? Let us know all the details.
She teaches everything. Okay, so in the mass communications department, there's only, I think there's about 4 professors, and then like 2 like other staff members that kind of help out, but 4 who like mainly teach classes. So she has taught me social media. Yes, I have an actual social media class. It's actually a serious class. Learn algorithms and everything. What was it called? PR. So like, it's like a PR statistics type class. Right now, I'm in TV news gathering and reporting with her. I feel like there's another one. Oh, she also helped teach my intermediate converged media class. She's also she still has a radio show. So if you live in New Orleans, you might have heard her on the radio multiple times. So not only does she have a PR firm, but she also still practices as a radio host and everything like that. So she's just like the most amazing person ever. I don't even know what it is. It's like she's still in the field, so she knows what's happening, but like she's also been in it long enough to like know the game, know the ins and outs. She put me in connection with my first internship that I got actually my second semester, my freshman year, with the largest Black PR firm in New Orleans, well in the state of Louisiana, the Spears Group. Shout out to them, love them so much. But she put me in contact with them. She's just helped me so much. So, like on the academic side, she's definitely it. On the non-academic side, like my social life, and just like my go-to, like my teacher friend, that'll go out to Miss Chasa Lewis. I love her so much. She works in admissions. She's like my Xavier bestie. But yeah, so I feel like you always have like someone, like an adult who can kind of help you like in life and then like in academics. So you can definitely find those people here at Xavier.
Gotcha. And before we move to the next person, you got a shout out from Ming, who lives in Texas. I don't know if you remember Ming, but you gave her campus tour.
Hey, girl.
Oh, that's so cute.
Hey, I think I have her on Snapchat, actually.
Gotcha.
Shout out to you, Ming.
All right, so I wanted to get another answer from someone else, either of you, Jordan, Jared. Jared, so who's that go-to professor for you?
So that go-to professor for me, so I have two. So when it comes to education, I would have to say Dr. Davis Haley is always my go-to person, just because she's the head of like the education department. So as far as information about, hey, what residency should I do? What specific programs for teaching should I go into? Should I do this internship? I will always go to her as far as like reevaluating my career choices, my undergraduate choices, and even graduate opportunities for me, because it's never too early to like start looking into that information. So she's always my go-to person. For sociology, it is Amy Bell-Height, and she's actually like my advisor. So going to her is more like a conversation than it is a request of like information. It's just like, discussing our classes, discussing what different opportunities I have for myself, what I should look into in the future, and I feed off of where they've been, where they're, how they've ended up here, and like the route that they took. I'm a big person on that. Like, how did you get here? And I'll study your achievements and stuff like that, because ultimately I want to get there myself. I want to be up there and guide people behind me into that same influence. As far as non-academic, like on Xavier's campus, I also find myself a home in the admissions office. I work in the admissions office as a student worker, so I'm always just in there making conversation with the counselors, and they've even so much as given me the idea of a new career path that I didn't know that I was even looking into, of actually becoming an admissions counselor like after graduate school and stuff like that. So I have been considering that, and they're just like my second family here on campus, actually.
Gotcha.
Real
Gotcha.
quick, once y'all get in, you don't have to leave them alone. Like,
You
you can
don't.
go and talk to
No.
them.
Yeah.
You do. You
We
can.
still work here.
Like, all of us, we're in there all the time. Like, I probably see them more than I see the people I should be seeing.
Honestly, I text Tracer all the time. She probably gets annoyed by me, but
Like, go to the 4th floor. They're still great people, even once you, like, get past the whole admissions phase.
Yeah, yes, indeed. By the way, speaking of admissions, virtual campus tours are a thing. Make sure that you go to our website. If you click on admissions and aid, then click on undergraduate. That's where you can find our virtual campus tours, also our in-person campus tours. They're kind of full, so if you can get into them, very busy at the moment. And of course, that's socially distanced too. And also, we do have a version of the virtual campus tour that you can watch at your leisure, and we do have a version that's scheduled that you can register for, in which one of our lovely Vanguard would actually be giving that virtual tour. So I know that we're rounding out towards the end of our time. We have about 10 minutes left. And so someone asked, could you all discuss housing? And so for those of you that have lived on campus, what has it been like residing on campus? Both pre-COVID and now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will say for me, pre-COVID, as a freshman, I stayed at KD, St. Catherine Drexel Hall, and then sophomore year, I was at St. Martin de Porres, and currently, post-COVID, I am staying at the UNO campuses, which is like off-campus, on-campus student housing, apartment housing. What I like to all of my tours, and anybody who asks me about Xavier, is as a freshman, a female student here, please stay in KD.
Yeah.
Honestly speaking, like I said, you have to get used to the communal living and stuff like that and sharing a space with somebody. But honestly, the connection that I've made with all of my classmates staying in KD was like phenomenal. Like, we would just have days where everybody was out of their room for some reason in the hallways. We dancing, singing, listening to the same music in the showers together. Like, when we would have those floor meetings and stuff like that, checking in with everybody and stuff like that. Those late nights when we'd be downstairs on the first floor studying for bio finals, chem finals, midterm, any exam. So I really do encourage all of my female freshman incoming students to stay in KD. Like I said, with COVID and everything and how we're going back to double housing, I believe, or double occupancy, you know, you might be spaced out, however, but if you can get into KD, please live in KD. Just that closeness, like that family dynamic again. You guys keep hearing me say family. Xavier is really a family in every single aspect, in the classroom, outside of the classroom, and stuff like that.
And also for my commuter students and things like that, because I'm a commuter student, you can still get that experience, especially freshman year and getting ready for like all the events like basketball games, homecoming. Like we used to do crawfish on the terrace and things like that. The dorm competitions from KD and the mics, we used to have the dorm competitions and things like that. The step competitions, like all of that. Even if you're a commuter student, you can still experience that. Like I was fortunate enough that my friend who I had classes with, like every class with, and then my friend from high school happened to dorm together. So I was always in KD. I was always staying in there. Like I experienced waiting for the commuter bathrooms to get ready and stuff like that and stuff. So like even with not being a commuter, even with like not living on campus, I still had the opportunity to live on campus. I've been through all 4 dorms. I've hung out in all 4 dorms and things like that. Like you still can get that campus experience, especially in DP, which is our what's it called? Co-ed dorm and things, and it doesn't have a curfew and stuff. Being able just to hang out with your friends and just be hanging out in their room and leave whenever you want, you can still get that experience even if you're not on campus, because both me and Jared are from New Orleans, so like it's kind of different being a commuter student and things like that. Unless your scholarship covers it and you stay on campus, you still can have it. KD is always going to be home. The dry erase, like the chalkboard walls in the hallway, the game rooms, like upstairs on the 6th floor. There's the
They got a foosball
the
table.
foosball table, yeah. And then like in the mics and stuff like that, their lobby is the best lobby. I'm
Man,
not gonna
like,
it's the best.
Arcade.
For
literally.
all of our guys, I stayed in St. Mike's my freshman year. You will hear everybody else talk down on St. Mike's. It has the most camaraderie. It has. You will see everybody. You'll see everybody coming from DP, coming from the Living Learning Center, come in our lobby, use our ping pong table, be laying up on our couches, because we have the most fun. We have the most fun. We have when we had the dorm competitions, St. Mike's won 3 years in a row. So
Here we go.
So I just want to let y'all know, for our guys, please come on campus. Please join the St. Mike's family. We still talk in our group chats to this day. Like, I swear to you.
Shout out to all the St. Mike's alumni.
Y'all are
There's a lot of y'all.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And that's the funny thing. It's the guys' residence hall. And so, as you all know, there aren't as many guys as there are ladies on campus. But, you know, St. Mike's, we dominate kind of, sort of.
Y'all don't have no elevator, though.
That's
Builds
okay.
character. That whole building
It
builds character.
It builds character and
Yeah.
it builds calf muscles, too. So, yeah. And actually, I'm very reminiscent. Dorm step off. I miss dorm step off so much.
Hopefully we
during
can bring it
Spring
back.
Fest. Yes,
I hope
indeed.
so. That was nice.
Yeah. But as we begin to round out, we have about 5 minutes left, and I want to ask 2 more questions before we end. And so, one question, and so quick responses. Roughly about 30 minutes. I'm sorry, 30 seconds. And so the first question that I'd like to ask is, what are your post-graduation plans?
Howard. I'm going to Howard for public health. I'm gonna, like I said, program planning. Xavier does have a public health grad program. It's research, and I don't like research, so Howard for program planning.
Gotcha. All right.
I will be going to law school, either at Tulane or maybe Southern Law, and then hopefully you will see me on like CNN or some other national news network within the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Cool.
As of right now, I plan on going back home and doing a post-bac program, actually at my first choice college, UC Davis, either UC Davis or UCLA. And then, like Yaa'Ann said, hopefully in the next 5, 8, 10 years, I'll be delivering somebody's babies.
Actually, we have one of our Vanguard alum that is at UC Davis right now.
Oh, wow.
Let me know you're ready to get connected. Jared?
As soon as possible.
For me, after graduation, more Xavier. I plan on doing the residency with Xavier to teach while I'm getting my master's degree.
Perfect. So y'all got some plans, big plans. So the last question that I would like to ask you all is if you can give yourself a piece of advice before you came to Xavier, and I'll let you all simmer on that for a few seconds. If you can give yourself one piece of advice before you came to Xavier, what would be that one piece of advice you would give yourself? And so to paint the picture, we all know orientation starts in August, usually around mid-August. What would you tell yourself since we're now in March? What would you tell yourself in March of your senior year?
Okay, this is gonna sound really silly.
Okay.
It's really silly. But, so I'm allergic to seafood, right?
Yeah.
And I would tell myself to put Benadryl in all of my backpacks because the amount of allergic reactions I had because of like cross-contamination when I first came here was so bad. But other than that, I would not change my Xavier experience. I would tell myself to have Benadryl on me. That's what I would tell myself.
Benadryl on demand.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
I would say have fun. Honestly, like coming from St. Mary's Dominican, which is a high school down here in New Orleans, very competitive, all-girl Catholic high school. It was stressful, and I came in like transferring from high school to college. I was still in that mindset of study, and I feel like I missed out on so many basketball games, so many things. My fall semester compared to like the rest of the years, I've been lit. I've been turned up. I've been at every basketball game, every event. Like I feel like I deprived myself of having fun that fall semester. So have fun, balance, but have fun.
Yes.
Balance and fun.
Yes.
Cool.
For me, I would probably say the opposite of what Elisa said. I would say to be prepared for the rigor that Xavier has, because that's all I did was fun. I was like going to different parties, going to events and stuff like that, because I was like, I'm from here. I know it's a party city. I get to show everybody around and get to have them experience that.
You would be a tour guide.
I did not focus as much on my academics at first. I still passed on my classes, but I know I could have done better. Just be prepared for the rigor is what I would have told myself.
Gotcha. Jordan, you the last one. Let's
I
move it on.
think for me, my biggest thing I probably would have told myself my freshman year is put yourself out there. Go to that meeting, go to that interest meeting, go to that event, go to that tutoring. Like, do whatever you want to set your mind to, because you can do anything you set your mind to. Don't be scared. Like I said, I'm a junior now, and I just getting the most involved that I've been in my last 2 years. But like I said, kind of same thing as Yaa'Ann and like Elisa and Jared said, I wouldn't change my experience, but definitely put yourself out there. Go after whatever you want. Don't let anybody speak any fear into your plans, because you are successful throughout anything as long as you put your mind to
You
it.
should tweet that. That was really good.
Thank you.
You should.
I'll quote tweet it.
Got it.
So I would like to officially say thank you to all of you. You did not have to say yes, but you did say yes, taking time out of your busy schedules of fun and balance.
Yes, fun and balance.
And balance.
To come and speak to basically the next generation of Xavierites coming through in the fall.
You making me
Great classes,
sad.
that's like
leave.
20
Yeah, and I graduate like
This
next
is-
year.
Yeah, this would be class of 2025.
Yep, my sister's in that class. It makes me sad.
Yes, indeed. And
Feel
so,
old yet?
so definitely thank you to you all. I know that you all have classes and work piled up, whatever you need to be doing. Thank you all for coming through this evening. Thank you all for coming through this evening as well, catching this live stream. And before we close, I did want to say we do have some giveaways. We actually have giveaways for each night of this week, especially on the last night on Thursday. So make sure that you attend for your chance to win some free stuff. If you look directly in front of us, or directly in front of me, you'll see this really nice basket of Xavier goodies, and you can't even see everything that's in it. But if you want to get hooked up with some good Xavier paraphernalia, make sure that you do what I'm about to tell you to do. And so post a picture of yourself on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, and make sure that you use the hashtags XULA Elevate, meaning XULA Elevate, and also Lagniappe 21. It's on screen right now. So XULA Elevate and Lagniappe 2021. Post a picture of yourself, selfie it up. Preferably if you have like a Xavier T-shirt, or if you have like a Xavier pennant, something Xavier. Even your acceptance letter if you want to post that. Block out your address though.
Flaunt
But,
it, okay?
yeah, we want to see you. We want to see you. So Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, make sure that you use the hashtags XULA Elevate, meaning XULA Elevate. Also, Lagniappe 2021. Lagniappe is spelled Lagniappe. All right. So again, this is Bryan Cooper with the Office of Admissions here at Xavier University of Louisiana, and we definitely thank you for joining us this evening. If you would like to reach out to our office, you can find us at 504-520-7388, or you can email us at admissions@xula.edu. And for all of you who have not confirmed your enrollment yet, you can do that at confirm.xula.edu, as well as the rest of your enrollment steps as well, in order to officially become a student here at Xavier for the upcoming fall 2021 semester. So, see y'all tomorrow night. Make sure to come back for some more giveaways, because tonight, if we choose you, you may actually be able to win a $25 Amazon gift card. Tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday, and then on Thursday night, that's when we give away the big stuff. So make sure that y'all post tonight. Thank you.
We're done.
My name is Noah Williams, and I'm a junior here at Xavier University of Louisiana. I am currently studying biology, and I hope to attend dental school after graduating from Xavier. When I began narrowing down which college I would like to attend, Xavier became my college of choice because I truly admired the hospitable atmosphere, and I also knew that this great institution would provide me with the necessary resources to ensure that I excel in all of my future endeavors. Thank you for joining us tonight. Be sure to tune in tomorrow to hear more about our academic departments and also my story. Have a great evening.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and